Warning: the Lobo Show contains adult content, crude humor that may go against your religion, ethics, and morals. A perspective point of view you may not find your own. Viewer discretion is advised. Good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to your daily topical podcast. This is the Lobo Show. With me, your host, Lobo. And with me, as always, my producer, Heapsack.
Meh.
And we're back from the little hiatus that we've been in. We've been away for a while, but not because YouTube, not because YouTube shut us down or anything like that. This time it was kind of like little vacation, little things that we needed to take care of that we will definitely talk about a little bit later. But everything's definitely up, and we're back. We're back for the whole summer. The boys upstairs, right? They said, you can have a little time off. They gave us a little, necessary time off, and now we're back. We're back for good. It is the Lobo Show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everybody hitting us up, saying, "Hey, where are you at? Where's that zany podcast that we like to listen to? That speaks the truth in the matter." And I think it's been about 2 months. 2 months and some weeks over here that we haven't recorded. We haven't did anything. And we're the daily topical podcast. We like to hit the facts on what's going on with the trending news, if you will. And obviously, since we were gone, there was many things that happened. We got obviously, we got the undocumented immigrant situation. All the DACAs and the dreamers and all the kids, and people are fucking losing their shit. They're comparing these camps that they're in to concentration camps, which is absolutely extreme. The left will say anything that's outrageous to get a rise out of people. And we got other shit like the World Cup 2018. This is, I guess, is every 4 years. The big World Cup, the big extravaganza among sports, the one sport in the world that's popular everywhere else except for North America. And I got to talk, even my Canadian brothers would understand this. Soccer, which I think, North America is like the only place that calls it soccer. It's not popular. It's not popular. The World Cup, big whoop. I know people go, well, it's sour grapes. The United States didn't even qualify. They're not even in this tournament. And there's years where they're not in this tournament. So this is not like, oh, this is the first year they didn't make it. What a big breakthrough and shit, right? It's just no matter what, the United States could be the Gold Cup, World Cup champions. Gold Cup every 2 years, World Cup champion every 4 years. This country, North America, just in general, won't give a shit about it. They don't give a shit about soccer. I'm telling you right now, you see the NBA playoffs, you see the NHL playoffs. Those people say TV is dead when it comes down to ratings and everything. Those sports games, those playoffs do pretty well. I'll tell you that. And I'm not saying that people are not watching the World Cup, but come on, people be inclined to watch better things. The World Cup is like the Olympics here in the United States. It's like in other countries, they take that shit very fucking serious. They don't have too much to hope for. So that's their fucking thing. But I'm going to say something, that's the World Cup and shit, right? Who are you guys going for? Because I know we got some, people from other countries that go, hey, yeah, this is our year. I'm from Brazil over here, some shit. They talk with an accent, like a Brooklyn accent, but whatever. But nah, man. Truth of the matter is, one of the big things that I like to discuss is, I'm a political guy. I don't like to hold any punches here at the Lobo Show. And, I really feel that when President Trump, let's be honest here, I know people are going to roll their eyes and people are going to go, oh, fuck it, just the part that I don't like, right? Here comes Trump. He gets elected to presidency. They say the tweets are going to send us to World War III. This guy started talking to Kim Jong Un. He knows that he's very crazy, and this rocket man, Kim Jong Un, he has his finger on the button with the itchy trigger finger. And as Americans or as Japanese or anybody around that, who are the quote unquote the allies, we should fear this man and we should talk to this man very carefully, almost like kissing his ass in a way, to make sure, because we have to walk on eggshells when Kim Jong Un is around. Well, here comes Trump, and he doesn't do that. New sheriff's in town. We vote Trump in. The new sheriff, and this guy over here doesn't give two shits to Kim Jong Un. He doesn't get bullied by him, and obviously Trump methods are very questionable from both sides, left and right. But the truth of the matter is, the people on the left were the people on the right were more comfortable than the people on the left. Obviously, I think that people in the left were so it was like a delusion where there was like, they were so afraid and they were pointing any finger. Now they were saying, to go, hey, Trump, he's going to send us to World War III. What is he doing? Why is he tweeting? What's he doing with Kim Jong Un? Why is he talking like that? This guy's going to, World War III. I knew it. This is Illuminati. This is what they're doing. No. And guess what? It didn't happen. Trump talked tough to this fucking douchebag, and this douchebag listened up. He knew that he couldn't. It's just a matter of time when it comes down to this. People overthrowing the government. The United States. We can go into years about the coups that they have been affiliated with, whether it be Manuel Noriega or Gaddafi, or hell, even to fucking Castro and shit. Back in, to be honest, they were affiliated with the United States. The United States helped fund their their little civil war. It's happened everywhere. The United States, always had their hand in the cookie jar. And there's no more cookies left. And that's where Trump comes in. So this guy, he inherited all this bullshit that's coming in with, right? But now, like I said, he's with, he trying to broker some peace treaty with North Korea and Kim Jong Un, and he actually made the guy agree to denuclearization. You know what I mean? And I mean, what the fuck? Now that he's doing this, now that this happened, which is, to me, I thought this was a fucking great thing. I remember watching this on TV. I'm like, holy shit, everybody should be talking about this. This is fucking amazing. This is great. But when you turn on the news, and it depends what kind of news you listen to, but everywhere you go to, obviously the liberal news is biased. Everything. Like, you go to fucking Yahoo, you want to go to MSN or NBC, HuffPost, all this majority, not all of them, but the majority of these news outlets are completely telling you one story from one side, and it's so funny. They just cannot praise anything that Donald Trump does. And I'm telling you right now, if you really feel like, Lobos, you're an idiot, I can't praise that guy in any way either. He's an idiot. Hit me up on the comment section. Let me know. Let's have a discussion. There's not gonna be an argument. Nobody's gonna go, I'm gonna say, yo, you're stupid and dumb and make you look like a fool. Let's have a real discussion. But the thing is, though, when you see Trump do something like this, and then people are going, oh, wow, now he's shaking Kim Jong Un hand. What is that about? What is that about? And they're getting angry. It's like, what the fuck is it? Do you want us to be in the brink of World War III? But then when the guy's shaking his hand, like, oh, we're trying to make some peace. These guys trying to shake his hand, like, let's fucking try to open some talks. It's like, people go, oh, fucking bullshit. Why are we talking to him? It's like, what do you want? And I'm gonna tell you this: the North Koreans are not fucking innocent either. Don't get me wrong; they did some fucked up shit. But now let's talk about the guy, this kid Warmbier, right? He went to North Korea. He was an American citizen. He did something very stupid in juvenile, but it didn't merit what he got convicted for. So he ripped the poster, like he was in a hotel, and he ripped the poster on the wall or whatever. I guess he was trying to pocket and take it home as a souvenir. They had him on camera. North Koreans saw that. They arrested him. They have zero tolerance for anything like that. So they put him in one of those camps, instead of it's like a camp, like when it's like you're sentenced to hard labor, if you will. So Warmbier was in there. He's an American and shit, and this was a very fucked up young kid, and he was in there for like maybe 2 years. I'm not 100% correct on the numbers on that one, but pretty much he was dying. He was dying. North Korea practically sent him back to the United States dying. And like, and there's a lot of controversy behind that. It's like how he died, and did they pump him fucking full of some shit? Who knows what kind of, who knows, right? Well, he committed a crime, and out there in North Korea, like I said, zero tolerance for that shit. But it's also that diplomacy shit. It's like, hey, this guy's from another country. Should you cut him off some slack? What's the deal with that, right? So, but the thing is, the parents were completely outraged about that. And this is one of those things why Trump was also calling out Kim Jong-un. Like, fuck this guy. Like, you're going to fucking send this guy back in a body bag, pretty much this and that. And I really feel like this is how the whole thing kind of started. And I also feel, one more thing, I also feel that Kim Jong-un is not fucking stupid, dude. This guy knows. And I'm not saying, oh, he's scared of fucking Trump 100%. But he was like, in a way, he's kind of using Trump where it's like, you know what? It's true. I got to fucking switch. I'm going to be in the Hermit King and the Hermit Kingdom and fucking just like still live in that fucking box. But the whole thing is not going to last long. Technology is advancing. People want their fucking human rights, man. People are not going to be just fucking slaves. I think that it's smart that he's trying to do that. But the whole thing, like I've said, they're not fucking innocent and shit in a way, and they can go fuck themselves. But I think what they're doing, I mean, this whole thing, this talks, is good for everybody, because no matter what, peace talks. What the fuck, right? Sack. I mean, here's the thing, Sack. You're the news. You're the fucking, you're the news guy here. What do you got on this?
I mean, this was a big event. It was the first meeting between the leaders of two countries that have been sworn enemies for almost 7 decades. This was huge. They met at 9 a.m. at the Capella Singapore Hotel. And like you said, he got him to completely, disarm his nuclear program, which was the whole point of this, becoming like, friends or whatever you want to call it, behind closed doors. It was just for him not to have a nuclear program, so he wouldn't have that itchy trigger opportunity to press that button. And yeah, I was very surprised that it wasn't more on television. That was one thing. Like, I thought this was going to be in magazines. People were going to be doing shows about
absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
It's very nothing. Yeah.
Now, who's pushing the agenda and shit? Like, it's so weird, man. Like I said, though. Yes, am I completely 100% conservative, Republican shit? Like, no, I'm not. I feel like that I'm a little bit more to the right, but I'm in the middle, though, because I don't believe I'm not an abortion guy. And if I'm losing fucking people like from that, like, oh, Lobos, I won't tune into your show anymore. Fuck it, then I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But I'm not on that. But I feel strongly about other things that I don't believe that the left completely believes on. I don't believe in censorship like that, like the left do. I mean, I feel like that if you're going to say something stupid, like, for example, if you're a racist, then you should let him say what he wants to say, but he's going to be accountable for his fucking actions. Any person, he or she, if whatever they do, whatever they say, they should be held accountable for it. If I'm going, hey, man, yeah, Trump, this whole fucking Kim Jong-un thing, this is great, this is amazing, and some guy completely doesn't agree with that, you know what I mean? Then come in. I mean, come in to the studio. Come talk with us. We'll fucking find a way where you could come in and talk, and we will fucking tell you, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna fucking. I like to have a discussion with those people, because, and I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm not gonna do that shit where, hey, because you're a fucking idiot, and I'm gonna say because you're a moron, I'm gonna fucking completely abuse you. But if you don't think that this is a fucking good thing that they're doing, Trump is treating this whole thing like he's like a CEO. See, a lot of the politicians, even the Republicans, right? They go, listen, I don't agree with that. The way he did it, there's like this guy. They're like, yes, he said he was going to denuclearize, but a lot of people don't. It's not going to take his word for it. But the thing is, these politicians are playing that politician game. Like, you got to give me this and you got to give me that. We got to, work, meet each other in the middle. Where Trump was like, all right, he brought it to the table. Obviously, if they're going to denuclearize and they're willing to talk to the United States, it's because they want something. Now think of this as business. You know what I mean? It's like they want something. What he wants probably is like, all right, I don't want to get fucking killed. I don't want to be assassinated. I don't want to be a part of some military coup. And also we want money and shit. And we want, we want Disney World. We want Burger King. We want Pizza Hut. We want all that shit here. We want it all. We want to be like China. We want to be bigger than fucking China. Trump is like, all right, whatever. But, you got to cut those fucking sanctions out. Cut the shit out. You got to be a fucking democratic society to a point. Now, you see what happened with China. Apparently, like China, the president, and don't quote me on the name, but, They literally had this a vote. They had this vote where there was like an election where it's like not necessarily an election, but a vote where it's like the quote unquote president of China, because they do call him the president, like he's like president for life now, and apparently the people voted for that and shit for life. It's like, so calm the fuck
Wow,
down.
the people voted for that.
The people voted for it. Well, and here's
They
the thing,
really love
obviously.
him.
Well, here's the thing, right? Obviously, a lot of fucking Americans are calling shenanigans. But see, when I say these Americans, like I said, these are these political people who got this axe to grind. They need to shut the fuck up sometimes. Here's the thing. Every country got some bullshit. Now, I understand that. They go, well, why would you want to deal with Kim Jong-un? He's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. But, dude, every country we deal with is a piece of shit. Look at fucking Pakistan and shit. You know what I mean? Look at fucking Pakistan and shit. Or was it Afghanistan? I'm sorry. I'm bugging, dude. I think it was Afghanistan. I'm sorry, dude. But it was there's a one country that was our allies. And then they're holding bin Laden there the whole time. The government knew, like there's some higher ups that knew that they had him there, and they're working with us, and they're fucking lying to us, saying, "Oh, we're helping you look for him." So it's like every fucking country that we're dealing with, dude. We're allies with Mexico. They got like the cartels and shit run that fucking country. You know what I mean? So it's like, get the fuck out of here with that shit, man.
Yeah.
And let's say one thing here on that whole subject on the Kim Jong-un thing. I think that I think it's a good thing. You're right, though. People rather talk about immigration and all this bullshit. There's this, Trump is separating family, people in camps. 24 hours later, he fucking signed a bill where it's they have, it's illegal to separate them and shit. And it's about a law that it's an old law that he didn't create. So he just fixed an old law that he didn't create. He just enforced it, ladies and gentlemen. He enforced the law, sure. He's tough on the borders. He's a tough guy. He's treating shit like a business, though. He's bringing attention. Like every movie he's making, people are well aware of it, man. And let me say this. Dennis Rodman, fucking basketball player, Chicago Bulls guy, friend of Kim Jong-un. This guy was going to North Korea and people were calling him a kook. And it's so funny that, and this is true because he had this interview, Dennis Rodman, who's absolutely a kook himself. He's crazy. But I mean, dude, I don't get it twisted. I'm not one of these guys like these liberals. They have to bury people and shit like that. But the guy, he's sincere. It's one of those things, like I always say, when some people just believes in their own bullshit, they're just sincere. And I'm not saying that he's saying his bullshit, but it's well noted that Dennis Rodman was invited with Kim Jong-un, North Korea. He played there. They became friends. And Kim Jong-un and his dad were big time Chicago Bulls fans. They loved Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman and all those guys, Scottie Pippen, big time fans. So Rodman was out there. They became friends and shit, and they really started talking, and then it's so funny. It's like Rodman was the guy that kind of, in a way, brokered this fucking thing in some sense. Now, Kim Jong-un told Rodman, he was like, yo, I'd really like to talk to Obama and shit. Like, if you ever can get that opportunity, as some type of an ambassador, not many people come over here, but if you could, fucking go talk to him. You know what I mean? Tell me that I want to fucking, let's talk, have a conversation. And then Rodman said that when he talked to Obama, he kind of bung that up. He said, Obama, he looked at him like just kind of one ear out the other kind of thing. So it's just like, he was kind of saying like, man, this thing could have happened a longer time ago, but the powers that be wouldn't allow it and shit, whatever the fuck, It's a
Crazy
good thing.
stuff.
Crazy shit, bro. I think it's a fucking, what are you going to do, pal? It's a fucking beautiful thing, pal. It's a beautiful fucking day. That we're working on, like you said, 77 fucking decades, man.
Mm-hmm.
7 fucking decades and shit. And now we're fucking getting this shit. Fuck that, bro. I mean, am I right or wrong on that?
Yeah, it's just like, we don't really think about it like that. There was almost 100 years, almost.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, money talks.
Money talks, bullshit fucking walks. And, speaking of fucking money, I'll tell you the guy who's all money, Mr. Heapsack, with the greatest segment in podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nightly News with Heapsack.
WINS, WINS HD, WWFS HD3, New York. All news, all the time. This is... You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday, June 22nd, 2018, 70 degrees in New York City, and this is the nightly news with the sack. The Conners. ABC orders Roseanne spinoff straight to series for this fall by The Wrap. The Conners are back. ABC has ordered a Roseanne spinoff titled The Conners. The new sitcom has been greenlit straight to series with 10 episodes set to debut in fall of 2018, starring John Goodman, Sarah Gilbert, and Michael Fishman, just to name a few. The Conners will air in Roseanne's vacant Tuesdays from 8 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. time slot. Roseanne Barr will have no financial or creative involvement in the new series, ABC said.
Terrific.
The decision comes after Barr made a racist comment about former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett. And this is what she said. I regret the circumstances that have caused me to be removed from Roseanne. She also said, I agreed to the settlement in order that 200 jobs of beloved cast and crew could be saved. And I wish the best for everyone involved.
Liar, whore, and you know it.
The cast said in a following joint statement, we have received a tremendous amount of support from fans of our show, and it's clear that these characters not only have a place in our hearts, but in the hearts and homes of our audience. We all came back last season because we wanted to tell stories about the challenges facing a working class family today. We are so happy to have the opportunity to return with the cast and crew to continue to share those stories through love and laughter. So yeah, pretty crazy. They got a new show without Roseanne.
I know it's fucking whatever. Here's the thing, right? So like Roseanne comes out with this show where it's like more of like the conservative view, because obviously there's nothing in television that is speaking for the conservative, the Republican, if you will. Everything is absolutely liberal, and anybody who says otherwise is fucking fooling themselves, to be honest. Well, at least that's how it is in America, right? So I mean, the thing is though, here's the thing. It's Roseanne. It's a beloved show from the past, which is rebooted. It kind of gave the trend of everything needs to be rebooted now, because everybody just ran out of ideas in this generation. They just want to see nothing but like just reboot shit. But the Roseanne thing, even though that it took the a stance of kind of like the right wing, and she was a Trump fan. I don't know about the other characters. Maybe John Goodman character was also a Trump guy. But the thing is though, what I liked about it, they still dealt with American issues, and like for example, like their grandson was gay. You know what I mean? Like the son that was on the show married this black chick, and he had like a biracial kid, and he was also in the army, and she was in the army, military family. I thought it was kind of breakthrough. I thought that watching this show, it was still silly Roseanne, but I think that it was kind of one of the realest television that was, especially that's dealing with comedy, especially a show that's like, it was a comedy based show, but still it was dealing with the absolutely topical issues that are going on now, and it's presented to a light. There was this episode where Roseanne was they had new neighbors, and they were the neighbors were of like Arab descent, and she was like fearful that they could be terrorists, because the joke was like they had a bunch of like fertilizers out their door, like a bunch of, like, apparently there was being shipped a lot of fertilizer, and she was like, well, that's how terrorists makes bombs, blah blah blah. But the episode goes like she lost, like, the little girl wanted to talk to her mother, who was like overseas doing a tour, and the Wi-Fi went out because they couldn't afford to pay the bill. So, but the little girl really wanted to talk to her mother, so Roseanne decided to go next door, ask them if they could use their Wi-Fi. But mind you, Roseanne is like, she's kind of like fearful because she doesn't know her neighbors. It's like they're Arab descent, whatever the fuck. She goes there, she meets the neighbors, and finds out the neighbors are just as American as they are. And the joke was, the reason for the fertilizer is like they were doing that women joke, like men are just stupid, they don't know how to order things, blah blah blah. So they became friends, let out by the Wi-Fi shit, right? And then it was that old school, like at the end, like the end of the show, it was like they were in a supermarket, and then somehow, while they were both in the supermarket, they were friends now. The lady, like, who was like running the cash register or whatever, was like, she was like being racist and shit. And then Roseanne was like, yo, why the fuck are you being racist? That's stupid as fuck, blah, blah, blah. These people are American as anybody else. It was like the old school Archie Bunker shit, right? But I don't know if anybody remembers All in the Family. And people might go, oh, that shit was racist. It wasn't racist. It was a fucking message that was real. It's real and shit. You know what I mean? Now, that episode got fucking flack. It's like, oh, racism, racism. This is the generation we're living in. Like, oh, Roseanne, blah, blah, blah. Because ever since this Roseanne show came out, it was very controversial, man. And I don't understand. Like, and it wasn't like just people are nitpicking, saying that racist shit all the time. Like, oh, everything is racist. You know what I mean? Like, why are they, why do they have that person on? Roseanne is an idiot. She made a fucking a stupid tweet. And like anybody else, dude, like and we said this once and before, Twitter, if you're fucking like famous and shit, and if you're getting this money and shit, like you're getting fucking money, I'm telling you right now, like I know you have to interact with the fans, but I wouldn't use like that Twitter to speak my fucking views of political views. I'm just saying, like, if your shtick is not political fucking opinions, then you shouldn't have one at all. Shut the fuck up. Now, here's the thing. The reason they rebooted her show is because she did have that political opinion. She was a Republican, and she was a hardcore Democrat before. And she did this great line in Jimmy Kimmel's show, because Jimmy Kimmel was trying to fucking rip her and shit. But she was like, like what happened? We were a Democrat. And she was like, yeah, well, I was, but then they fucking changed, and it's true. They became like liberals, and like, hey, let's just do what you want until all these bullshit rules that don't make any fucking sense. Roseanne is a victim to that. The Connors, that fucking show they're gonna make, dude, that shit is gonna tank. And I'm telling you right now, dude, if that shit lasts longer than this season, I'll eat my fucking hat live here on the Lobo show. You can fucking quote me on that if they renew that show for a fucking second season, bro. Because trust me, dude, it can't be. There's no way. Dude, Roseanne made that a fucking show. That's what it was about. And she's funny as fuck. Here's the thing. See, we don't even sound like hypocrites, because prior to this, we were talking about, when we did the comedy episode, we were talking about all the great comedians. We definitely mentioned her. So here's the thing. Like I said, when it comes down to the Twitter and the Hollywood thing, like am I gonna boycott and go, dude, she should have never been fired? Obviously, people say stupid things. Like Peter Fonda, the other day, he said that how Barron Trump, Trump's son, Melania's son, how he should be like raped in a camp. Legit. And he still has his Twitter account. He still has a movie. And there's no backlash to that. There's no backlash to that whatsoever. But Roseanne could say this, and this backlash, like lose all their money, and we're going to do a show without you. It's like these liberals are just completely out of fucking control. And there's it's a money thing. Like, oh, we're not doing this show because, for the people. Like, we're doing this shit because we know we can make a lot of money on it, but we don't want you on it because, blah, 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 racism shit, whatever the fuck. Let's move on, Zach.
In other news, why a U.S. Space Force is premature but inevitable, by PBS News. On Monday, President Donald Trump met with the National Space Council so he could sign an executive order meant to manage and clean up junk in space. This important policy milestone was overshadowed by Trump's request for a Space Force. When it comes to defending America, it is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space, Trump said at the event. We are going to have the Air Force and we are going to have the Space Force, separate but equal. Trump asked the Department of Defense and the Pentagon to immediately begin the process of creating a sixth independent branch of armed forces dedicated to space warfare. But the creation of such a service lands just outside of the president's powers. According to 3 experts who spoke with the PBS News, only Congress can create a new branch of the military. So lawmakers would need to introduce and approve legislation establishing a space force. But the Pentagon has expressed dislike over the idea. The motivation for a space force centers around China and Russia, said Laura Grail, the global security expert with the Union of Concerned Scientists. Both nations have been ramping up their development of technologies that could be used to target satellites. If you're expecting stormtroopers and X-Wings, think again. Anti-satellite weapons fall into 2 general categories. those that interfere and those that destroy. So far, confirmed weapons in both these categories are ground-based. Interference weapons include things like satellite jammers, which drown out communication signals, or lasers that blind satellites. These non-destructive weapons are relatively low-tech but effective. Russia has GPS and satellite communication jammers deployed in eastern Ukraine as a part of their combat activities there, said Brian Whedon, director of program planning for the Secure World Foundation, a space policy center. The whole point of that is to interfere with the Ukrainians' ability to use GPS and communications.
Holy shit. Holy shit. You know what? When I heard about this Space Force shit, I know you're the research guy. When I first heard about it, I was like, get the fuck out of here. What the fuck is this Space Force? Like, this guy Trump is an idiot. And don't get me wrong, like, that's kind of a stupid idea. It really is fucking dumb, Space Force. But I mean, I guess we got to get the fucking leg up on things. You're saying it's all this kind of intelligence that they're using on the satellites when it comes down to it. But I mean, for the most part, this is fucking stupid. They want to use it as like some type of branch of military. Like, what's going on? Is there going to be a fucking space gun? Is there anything on that? I get you saying that no, don't expect X-wings and shit. I hear that. I hear that. But hey, it sounds ridiculous. But I wonder what are the criterias for being a Space Force guy. I mean, you would think that every little kid, when they hear this now, they're gonna want to be a part of the Space Force. Is this like some Buzz Lightyear shit? Whatever the fuck. But you know what?
Crazy, man. I don't know.
I guess
space warfare.
Now here's the thing, right? Trump wants to go back to the moon and shit, right? And a lot of people, especially the Trump haters, they hate the idea, and they go, "Well, Mars is where it's at. We went to the moon and all that shit. What we're going to do? Just get fucking just rocks?" I say, you know what? Let's go back to that fucking moon. This is 2018, right? Let's get back up there and let's take some fucking video up there on some real fucking video. Let's go play golf in the moon. Let's put the United States flags back up there. You know what I mean? Let's go back there and bullshit. Like, hey, this is what see? Thought we were bullshitting. Here's the flag that Armstrong put up. Let's go back up there and sure, we're going to fucking, do a little propaganda and shit where we go, hey, look, we went back to the remnants and everything's still here from the, clean up Armstrong and Buzz's fucking name and shit. You know what I mean? Perhaps. But let's fucking live stream where, hey, listen, you want to see some real live stream? Not that, bullshit live stream they got on Mars with that rover crap. I don't believe it. I think that's complete horse shit. I'm telling you right now, if anybody fucking wants to beg to differ, come holler at me. Let me know. Let Sack know. But I'm just saying, though, dude, fuck out of here. Let's go to the moon. Trump wants to go to the moon and he wants to do a Space Force. Fuck yeah. Let's kick the shit out of some aliens. Because if there really are they really are on the dark side of the moon over there and there's some Nazis up there and some aliens, let Trump expose that shit and go, fuck that. Hell no. Not on my watch. What the hell you guys are doing up here? Now I'm just saying though. That's just a possibility. The fucking Mars and all that shit. Yeah. Let's fucking these months. I don't even believe any of that shit, to be honest. I know there's a lot of physicists out there, very smart people and shit that believes in all that NASA science bullshit. But you know what I mean? But hey, listen, I'm a blue collar guy. I'm a Lobo guy here. You know what I mean? To me, I just feel that's just a little fucking far fetched. And it's even proven that NASA even admitted that they fucking photoshopped a little bit of the actual Earth, like the pictures of the Earth and all that shit. So give me a fucking break with all that shit, Space Force, we'll see. You know what I mean? But never, you never know. You might have a fucking kid 20 years from now, like, hey, Dad, I joined the Space Force. I'm like, yeah, congratulations, kid. Congratulations. You know what I mean? He's got a Space Force badge. He's all happy and shit, but you're afraid. Like, we might have to go to war. I hope they have to send my boy to war, to space war.
What that kind of reminds me of? I don't know if you ever watched the movie Starship Troopers, but it was kind of like them fighting aliens. It was like a Marine Corps that fought aliens.
Yes, I totally remember that. And that movie was fucking epic, dude. Starship Troopers. I love that movie. Yeah. Fucking ruled. And it was cool because, like, they were just like bug aliens and shit. There was like no supreme being alien that looks like a human figure, but like they had like these big bugs. It was just all right. That's science fiction, right? But there was this movie. I'll tell you, there was this other movie. There was this movie was like I think it was like the Nazis in the moon or some shit like that. You know what I mean? You don't quote me on the actual name, but it was about like there's always this fucking there's always this theory. What do you call those conspiracy theory kind of things where people was like the Nazi had this so much technology that they actually went to the moon and built bases out there. So there's actually a movie about it where but it's kind of like not meant to be taken serious, but very interesting nonetheless. But I say thumbs down on Space Force. But who knows? Maybe I look like an idiot 30 years from now. You know what I mean? Let's move on, Sank.
In other news, Delta is banning pit bull service dogs. That might not be legal by the Washington Post. Growing scrutiny of animals in airplane cabins, several airlines have unveiled tightened policies aimed at limiting the number of untrained pets or unusual species on flights. The changes, they have said, are driven by safety precautions intended to ensure that service or emotional support animals are traveling only with passengers who have disabilities. Delta went further this week, announcing Wednesday that it would prohibit all pit bull type dogs as service or support animals in a move it called the direct result of growing safety concerns following recent events in which several employees were bitten. The airline told the Associated Press Friday that 2 employees were bitten by a pit bull traveling as an emotional support animal last week. But the announcement faced swift backlash from advocates for pit bulls, as well as from some service dog organizations and disability advocates, who said they believe the Delta ban runs afoul of federal laws. First and foremost, it's about people. Delta is discriminating against people, said the Animal Farm Foundation in New York, which trains shelter dogs that have been labeled pit bulls to be service dogs for people with disabilities. When Delta or anyone puts out a regulation like this that dictates what kind of dog can be a service dog, they are reducing access for someone with a disability. The Department of Transportation also cast doubt on the legitimacy of the policy on Friday evening, saying in a statement that a limitation based exclusively on breed of the service animal is not allowed under the department's Air Carry Access Act regulation. The agency did not say whether it had communicated with Delta officials about the interpretation of the federal disability law that applies to air travel, but it did suggest that passengers that did turn away from flights would need to file a disability complaint with the department.
It's fucking unbelievable, to be honest. Let me say something, man. When it comes down to this whole fucking thing, you can't. And I get it, you know what I mean? It's all about health now. And I'm glad the fact that I hear that, the youth, absolutely the lowest it's ever been in America in terms of smoking cigarettes. These kids like to vape and do all that, that shit instead. There's healthier ways, if you kind of have some type of addiction, some kind of smoking addiction, because that's what it is. Let's be honest. But we're living in the fucking age where you can't smoke a cigarette in a fucking airplane, but you could bring a fucking peacock in there. You know what I mean? I understand being blind or having a physical disability, but emotion animals? Like, do they have that in the 80s and the 70s and shit? Oh, people's like, oh, I got to bring my fucking pet squirrel in here and I got to fucking pet him every minute or I'll go fucking insane. I'll go batshit crazy. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit, man. And people are like, well, no, actually, it's proven to be therapeutic. Like, come on, no. All right, listen, it's therapeutic. Okay, you like petting animals and shit, right? You like fucking petting animals? Okay, but here's the thing, though. There's got to be places in time, pal. Like, I don't know about you. I see these people with their animals and shit. Now, here's the thing: if you're blind, if you have some kind of physical disability, these animals are very, very cool at what they do. It's so awesome, very intelligent, well-trained animals that are, that are very helpful to a lot of people with disabilities. And I'm not knocking that. So let's get that right off the back. I'm not knocking that. But I would assume that some people with disabilities would agree with me on this, that there are people out there who are abusing shit, who are abusing this fucking power over here. I need my pet goldfish next to me. He's my power animal. I need a gopher in my pocket every time I go to the deli. It kind of disgusts me sometimes, dude. When I see an animal, I go to a restaurant, I go to a restaurant here, dude. I'm not talking about a fast food fucking joint because you can expect that there. You see a fucking golden retriever.
So gross,
Yeah. You see a golden retriever. Yeah, but dude, I go to a restaurant and I see a fucking animal in there just sitting, and some lady just sitting there with the table on the dogs on the table and shit. She's like feeding them and shit. But that's a service. You know, he has like one of those things around him where he's like a service animal or some shit. Fuck out of here. Abuse of power. The lady's in there, fucking. You know what I mean? She's not. You know what I mean? She's walking in and out of there. She seems like she doesn't. She's physically capable. Well, these people are fucking. You know what I mean? They're depressed or something. They need to pet a goldfish. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Whatever happened to the pet rock? You know?
Hey, the pet rock. I'll tell you this. The pet rock was better than a girlfriend. If it had a vagina, it'd be the best thing ever. It just didn't talk. It didn't talk back. You know what I mean? You just told it what to do, and it did it. You walk it sometimes, and other than that, that was it. That was the end of the story. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you this right now, pal. When it comes down to these fucking animals, like, this is my animal. I need to. This guy fucking brings. Look it up, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy fucking brings a person. Men or women, I don't know who it is, and it doesn't matter if it's men or women, but they bring a fucking peacock to the airplane. A peacock. If I'm sitting in the fucking airplane, I got anxiety as it already is. I get fucking anxiety, dude. And forgive me, like forgive me for being like 20,000, fucking whatever the fuck it is in the air, and for having a little fucking anxiety and shit. I know people are so used to I get in airplanes all the time. You go my miles. Yeah, I get that, pal. Good for you and shit. I'm not saying that you don't need whatever, but like, come on, man. Don't fucking, don't be like, hey, what are you fucking nervous about? What are you getting anxiety for getting the fucking plane? It's a big fucking deal. It sucks. Like, it's like the confinement. It's like the idea. It's like, at least when you're driving, you're like, all right, if I crash into a truck, it's probably because I'm a fucking idiot. If you have like at least that 10 seconds to yourself to think. You know what I mean? But, dude, get the fuck out of here. These fucking animals. And these people are like, oh, I got an animal now. And listen, it's like I can't stress this enough. If it helps, a herd animal, in some sense, if there's an animal out there, it's like a blind dog, and some guy uses that dog, and they're helping each other out. That's cool, man. That's good. That's a good thing. But I truly don't believe that these people that's bullshit. That they need it 24 hours a day. They need it to when they go into a restaurant. They need it when they go into the plane. Like, here's the thing. There's a fucking cage thing. There's like you can put like an animal back there in a plane. Like, you don't have to travel, and that's fucking, it's stupid. And like you said, Zach, I agree with you. It's gross when you're in a restaurant and you see an animal. I'm not gonna front you. Even into like, you can expect that in a fast food place, but even that is unacceptable, man. No shoes, no shirt, no service. You know what I mean? But you can go in there and bring a fucking chihuahua and shit, and it's all good. I don't know about that, dude.
I know. I don't like it. I just think. Yeah. I mean, they're like, back in the day, if you really think about it, you couldn't, like, animals weren't allowed to go anywhere. I like, you're right. In the 80s or 70s, I never heard about a dog or, something going on an airplane. No. Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
There were animals on airplanes, but they were in cages. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, sure they were. But back then, right? And I'm not saying that, listen, I'm not a fucking animal hater. I mean, to me, the fuck, right? But I'm not a completely animal lover. Where here's the thing is, absolutely, I 100% don't believe in cruelty in animals and all of that shit. But I say humans first, man. Like, like Trump says America first. Humans first. Though. That's like humans first, and then like country later. I say anybody country, but we should look after each other no matter what. As people, we're human beings. I don't care if you're from Iraq and you're from Canada, you're American, Belgian, Mexican, whatever the fuck. We should just hold hand in. I mean, no matter what, if it's some bullshit, we should fucking take care of it like men, or women do it like they're women. But come the fuck on, though, pal. Like, this whole animal thing, like you said, yeah. I mean, that's just over the top. It's way over the top. And and I said this before, and people got to laugh a bit. And I'm not trying to say this just to be outrageous. I'm telling you right now, 20 years from now, people are going to be marrying their fucking pets, man. I'm telling you. Well, I want to marry my peacock. That's my soulmate. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. On some real shit, get the fuck out of here. I remember this. I'll play a little fucking expert. When it was me, I was arguing with this PETA girl back in the old school Lobo show I had. I'm gonna just play a little fucking show, but a little clip from the episode. But I remember I totally gave her the business. Sack, you were there. You probably remember. Oh yeah, I totally ripped her. She said some shit. I'm not gonna say what she said. I'm only gonna put my reply. But this was my reply to their stupid fucking animal killing PETA bullshit.
You stupid fucking blabbermouth cunt!
That's it. Let's move on,
Let her
Zach.
have it. And finally, 79 years ago today, an Alabama farmer's son, Joe Louis, knocked out Jim Braddock in the 8th round, becoming the world heavyweight boxing champion, the first African American to hold the title since the late great Jack Johnson. Joe Louis would remain champ for 140 months and would later be named by some as the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. Yeah, rest in peace, Joe Louis. He was the man.
Joe Louis, let me tell you something, Zach. This is the people that I admire as a kid. Now, here's the thing, right? I admire the guy where when I was a kid, I admire, you admire people that was dead years ago. Years ago. You never seen anything. And this is before the YouTube. So it wasn't like I saw 100 Joe Louis fights. I only saw fucking what ESPN Classics put. But I did see that Braddock fight. And obviously they made that movie, Cinderella Man. Zach, you're the fight guy here. You're the fight expert. But Cinderella Man, and I remember I liked that movie, but it's true. I love the ending in that movie. When it was like after the end and Jim J. Braddock wins the fucking fight, you know what I mean? And the actor that plays him, there was a guy, Russell Crowe, right? He plays him in great ending. But at the end, they go, and then the next fight he had, it was Joe Louis, and Joe Louis knocked his ass out in the second round or some shit. But Joe Louis said that he was the toughest man I've ever fought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He said that. But here's the thing, though. Joe Louis, what he said, he was the first.
He was the first African American to hold the belt since Jack Johnson.
Right. Definitely Jack Johnson. Yeah, absolutely. But Joe Louis was the man because he fought a lot of fucking important fights. He fought some fucking German guy. But the German guy, Max Baer, that he fought wasn't a bad guy. Although he was a German. This was during Nazi time, Germany. And that was a big thing where, like, Hitler was like, when he lost, like, Hitler was like way disappointed. You know how that kind of, that shit goes.
Yeah.
But Joe Louis won the title, the heavyweight title. And still, when he came to America, people cheered for him, but he was a second-class citizen, man. And that was a fucking shit time that people, to this day, this is why they're pissed off and angry.
Yeah, yeah. People still look up to him though, because he did do the service, and people.
Oh yeah, he totally fought in the exactly. And then and let's be clear. If anybody do the history on Joe Louis, I'm saying I think the Lobo Show audience is a little bit older crowd. So I don't think anybody's gonna be listening to this if they listen to this far, where they're going, who the fuck is Joe Louis? You know what I mean? But I mean,
they
dude,
better know who he is. Yeah, I mean,
right.
Yeah.
But dude, Joe Louis, he completely got the shaft from the IRS. It was like they completely fucked him over. Like it was one of those things where there's like, in a way, like in hindsight now, there's like, all right, they were like fucking with him like on purpose and shit. It's like, come on, but yeah, the guy served his fucking country.
Didn't he have to get out of retirement to fight Rocky Marciano?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Rocky Marciano. Oh, forget about that. Rocky Marciano, he almost knocked his fucking head out in the second fucking row. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rocky Marciano, it was one of those things. That was fucked up, though, because you know how it goes. Like, to my Italians still talk about Rocky Marciano to this fucking day for that shit. But, Joe Louis was way out of his prime. You know how it is in boxing.
Oh, yeah.
But let me tell you this, though. Like, I'm not saying that I saw every fight of him, but you know how it is when it comes down to the fighting game and the auras of the great fighters and shit. You know what I mean? He's like, you didn't see every fight that they had, but God damn it, you didn't have to see. You can see one fight and know how great they were and how they can match up with other great fighters. And to me personally, I think Joe Louis was probably the greatest heavyweight fighter of all times in boxing. I mean, in boxing, dude.
I mean, here's the thing. I like Joe Louis as much as the next guy, and I respect him because, he did do it, but he's not the greatest of all time. I mean,
don't tell me that. Listen, and I'm not here to be disrespectful and shit, right? But don't tell me you're gonna give me that Muhammad Ali bullshit. Everybody with this Muhammad Ali. Come on, was he the greatest? Oh, come on, come on.
Well, hey, that's what he was billed as. He did, knock out George Foreman when George Foreman was like 40-something-0, knocking everybody out, and
yeah, but look at Joe Louis.
A lot of good. I don't know. I
mean, in my opinion, the problem is that with Joe Louis, I'm just saying though, it's like maybe it's like the era. Like, well, I don't know those guys he beat, but he wasn't like he was fighting cab drivers. The guy he was beating were contenders, and the Max Baer fight was more important than any fight Well, I mean, let me ask you a question then. I guess Muhammad Ali. There's, I guess, his fights were important in terms of a social issue. But I mean, it's like so was Joe Louis. I'm not gonna take any away from both of them. They did. I think Joe Louis was the fucking greatest. I mean, are you really gonna say Muhammad Ali was the greatest heavyweight of all time?
He fought Frazier. You know, he fought Liston.
Yeah, but he lost it. He lost to Joe Frazier.
But he beat him. Didn't
And
he?
let's be honest,
Once.
that Joe was the Sonny Liston fight. Was that the infamous picture? That was completely. I mean, people are saying that it's a possibility that fight can be fixed.
You're fake, yeah.
That fight could be fixed. That infamous picture, Muhammad Ali knocking down Sonny Liston, and then he was like, "Come on, get up! I know you got more than that." And Sonny Liston didn't want to get up. Next thing you know, you look in the back, you see fucking Giacana in the back, and the boys. You know what I mean? You see fucking Giacana and Frank Sinatra in the background.
He could really go for being 6'3", whatever he was, 215. Like he wasn't the hardest.
Listen, Muhammad Ali was fucking. Do not get me wrong. I mean, here's the thing: he's fucking great, but I mean, it was always that question of Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson. Now, Ali was tall. He was faster. He was more of a boxer. But I'm talking about Mike Tyson in his prime, though, bro. The guy literally, he was like an animal out of a cage.
I mean, Tyson could have caught him. He could have knocked him out in the first round, but that was Tyson's only thing. If Tyson couldn't get him out of there in the first few rounds, Tyson would have got finished.
Yeah, that's the problem with Tyson. That was the problem with Mike Tyson, is that the fact that he could never, if it was going extra rounds, it was not looking good for him. I mean, he won the majority of the time fights of his. He went the distance like what 3 times in his career. No, I'm talking about. Yeah, but I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. But in terms of yeah, you're right. But in terms of his prime, though, in his prime, yeah, I think he probably, like you said, like 10 rounds, probably when he was like before he was champion. But while he was champion, I don't think he got fucking. I don't think he went 12 rounds as champion.
No, definitely not. No,
Right.
I don't think so.
But Joe Louis, I'll tell you why he's the man, though. Joe Louis was going like 15 rounds, dude.
Yeah, I mean, rules were different back then.
Totally. Absolutely. You got to understand the gloves, all that shit was fucking different. But Joe Louis was an absolute real.
But I feel like styles were different too. Like fighters were a lot more tighter back then, and nowadays fighters are more loose. They're more like boxers. Back then it was like, you got to be strong and hit hard. It wasn't about, being a Willie Pep. Nobody really cared about being a Willie Pep. They wanted, to win by knockout. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and it was about that, and not necessarily knockout, but just like yes, knockout. That's the goal, obviously. That's like a home run. You know what I mean, like the equivalent of baseball and shit. But the truth of the matter is like, absolutely that sweet science boxing shit. You know what? I think, like I said, I wouldn't be a dope and say Muhammad Ali would definitely probably best Tyson, to be honest. I have to play a little devil's advocate, but Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali would be a great fucking fight. They actually match up really good. I think Joe Louis will give it to him. Now, like I said, I saw as many Joe Louis fights than Ali fights, but I don't know, man. Joe Louis, dude, was no fucking joke. I know Muhammad Ali wasn't, but Joe Louis was the brown bomber. Motherfucker knocked guys out.
But one thing I can say, like, I'm, no disrespect, and I'm not a professional fighter, so but everybody knows, I think his name is Bert Sugar. He was a boxing historian. He
did. I mean, the guy with the fedora.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. He always had
a cigar. Yeah.
Yep.
Bert Sugar. Greatest,
and he knows everything about boxing. And he always said that Joe Louis had a lazy jab. Every time he threw it, he would.
That was one thing about Joe Louis. They would, but that was like kind of like the racial thing about it during the time. They was like, oh, he's lazy. He's very lazy. And there was like times when Joe Louis lost. People always felt like he could have won. He was just being lazy. But how can somebody be so successful and be known as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time with a lazy jab? I love Bert Sugar, and I'm pretty sure he saw more Joe Louis fights than I've ever have. But I mean, how can somebody be so successful and be considered the top 5 greatest heavyweight boxer of all time with having a lazy jab?
I mean, I'm sure maybe he had a crazy of a piston of a right hand, like coming down at you. I really don't know. But that's one thing that I did hear, and I've never watched, a lot of his fights. I've maybe seen one fight, but it is very old traditional style the way he boxed. Very
Absolutely.
high, tight guard. He's not very,
He's a
like
Detroit guy, wasn't he?
yeah, he was, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is like he really relied more on blocking rather than, evading and moving and being tricky. He was just
Right.
very traditional boxer that was talented, very talented.
Absolutely. And there's a great story between Max Baer and Joe Louis and that whole thing. And anybody who hasn't seen it, there's an older movie, and the movie I feel really holds up. Zach, I really appreciate this tonight. I really feel there was some really good fucking news. I really feel like, like I said, the Lobo show is back better than ever and shit. If anybody have any comments, leave some. Tell us what you think. But I know, Zach, you got a fucking helicopter to catch. I know the busy man, and you are. So I'm going to let you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the nightly news with Zach. There he is, folks. In the helicopter. Wave to him. All his glory. Don't adjust your radios, ladies and gentlemen, or wherever your devices that you're listening to these days. This is still the Lobo Show with your host Lobos, and ladies and gentlemen, Heapsack here, who's got. So we're talking about the hiatus here. People say, "Hey, Lobo Show is back." We really appreciate that, and it's all good. I don't know. So we had a little vacation here. The boss was like, "We need you to go in the summer. We need you guys to come in the summer and be better than ever. It's now or never." You know what I mean? Sex, a little pressure on us, but they gave us some time off. You know what I mean? And we enjoyed it. We were both burning $100 of bills, but we kind of did it differently. You know what I mean? Me personally, I had some time off. They say you can go anywhere and anywhere you want. Where would you want to go? I went to Atlantic City, here locally in Jersey. You know what I mean? Hit the tables up, do a little bit of gambling, having a good time and shit. But now, we're back in. We have to go back to work. Zach, but I understand you. You're at the time of your fucking life. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Oh, yes. I went back to the motherland.
The motherland. Blah, the motherland.
I went
motherland.
Back to went back where it all started, where everything started. Yeah. It was
Israel.
It was a very, very eye-opening experience. I'm very glad I did it.
Really? Well, yes. That's good. I mean, that's obviously, you're going to have to do that kind of thing. But, here's the thing, though. I would assume at a place like that, how could you have a good time? Isn't it very conservative over there? Isn't it like, hey, look, you can't do this, you can't do that. This is completely religion. Religion is on the mind of these people 24 hours a day. Is that true?
Yes and no. It depends where you go. You know what I mean? But it is very ancient in that sense where, yeah, there are these little rules, like you said, don't do this, don't do that. Oh, what are you doing over there? Yeah, it is a lot of that stuff, right. But you get used to it, and then you just kind of watch what everybody else is doing and you follow suit.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Did you feel threatened at all in any way? Because here's the thing, as an American, I'm always hearing that these people are terrorists, number one. Like they're the hits for terrorists. The terrorists are looking out to harm these people at all times, and it's not even safe to go to a mall. Is that true?
I guess, but you're not going to be able to stop people from living their lives. People are still going to go out and do things, even if there is, just 50 miles away, the enemy. And,
that's so funny. That's true. I heard that before from a lot of Israelis. They call them the enemy. They're like, yeah, there are the enemies out there. And I'm going to twist it. Like I said, hey, I'm pro-Israel, man. To be honest, I'm sorry. And here's another thing. Because you lost me. You lost me. I was listening to Lobo. I subbed, and now you lost me. Hey, we're pro-Israel here. Because what the fuck? What's the fucking problem here? You know what I mean? Go. You know what I mean? Go find another fucking piece of land. I don't know what to tell those people. But what the fuck? You can't go here. You can't go there. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something. The Jews, they picked one piece of land that doesn't have oil in the Middle East. The only piece of land that does not have any fucking oil. They go, listen, this is what we want. So what are you bitching about? You want a piece of, listen, whoa. I'm going to be very careful what I'm saying here. But come on. You want a piece of land that doesn't even have oil? Your people is more on profiting. Then you know what I mean? I don't know. It's like whatever the fuck. You know what I'm talking about? What are you gonna?
Yeah, here's the thing. Like when you do go down there, there is a lot of that. But I didn't. I try to stay away from the politics side and the whole religious side. I try.
How can you? I mean, here's the thing. Israel is conflicted with so much politics more than any country. Yeah, for any country in the world, more than America. I would say America is like third and fourth. Because it's like the Jews and the Palestinians are definitely number 1 and 2. They're definitely number 1 and 2. And whatever China and Japan, whatever they got going to, because there's some other hidden beef that they have, and they've been holding the grudges for years. But they could be diplomatic about it. And it's so funny that I'm telling you, it's like the politicians for Jerusalem, like Israel and the Palestinians, they can be diplomatic, but the people, I'm telling you, man, it's fucking war. And the thing is, here's the thing, right? So I'm not fucking ignorant. Like, like when, like, for example, like the Jews will, the Palestinians would like throw rocks and shit, or they'll fuck some shit. They'll break a window with a rock. And then the Israelis would fucking send jets and shit to retaliate. I mean, you know what I mean? Am I right or wrong on that?
Yeah, I mean, Israel has one of the best air forces in the world, if not the best.
And the military is fucking on some crazy shit. And I know Israelis, like I said, being in the United States, you know what I mean? You work, you know these people. I mean, being in New York, excuse me. You know a lot. You meet these people, all different races and cultures and shit. And a lot of the Jews, right? The Israelis that I know, they're all they had to do like years in the military, like as a person, being there, like man or woman, you have to be in the military, and that's kind of like it's mandatory, man. Now I think that's like a really that's like legit. And then when if you get out of that, like you're tough. Even the women are fucking like the women are fucking tough as fuck. I'm telling you, dude. The women from Israel, and like I said, Heapsack here, I tell you, you know what I mean. Heapsack served in the military, in the Marines. Just for the record, Heapsack is no fucking wimp. You know what I mean? He's no.
You're absolutely right about the woman. Right. I mean,
forget about it.
They can handle a gun. They look great. What do you want?
But here's the thing, though, right? So what if a guy like me, I'm a Catholic boy from New York, from Long Island. What if I go to Israel with you? And then you think I could score and pick up some women? Like, can I get a couple of one night stands? Or is it so religious? It's like, no, Blair, you have to be married. And next thing I know, it's like a shotgun wedding. I want to know can I go to the motherfucking club on a Tuesday at Tel Aviv? We're out there at the club, just hanging out, me and the Heapsack. You got a yarmulke, I don't got a yarmulke. I got my cross around my neck. You got the yarmulke thing going on. We're at the club. Am I scoring that night? Can I get a one night stand? Is that happening?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. Yeah.
So there's no such thing as the one night stand in Tel Aviv? There's no such thing as the one night stand in Israel?
I'm sure there is, but not in Tel Aviv. Not in Tel Aviv.
Really? I mean, what the F?
Around.
I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, so Sack, what you're telling me right now is that you didn't get the one night stand deal. Like, what was your thing? Because I know we listen. We were don't get it twisted. Our vacation was pretty long. We were both burning $100 of bills, so I'm pretty sure you totally scored over there. But you're saying, how long did it take you to score?
I didn't. I'm just gonna be honest here. I didn't score. Yeah, I was.
Oh,
I was just. You got to think, man, in that type of country, I'm always afraid. I mean, you know me as it is, right. I'm afraid when I'm in New York and I'm over there and I'm not trying to, think about the religion and the politics and everything. But it is like, you can't escape it. So, it was just one of those things. You
didn't get laid in Israel. Is that what you're telling me?
Unfortunately, no. No, I did not.
Wow. So I mean that's got to be a bummer, man. I mean, so
yeah.
That sounds, but you got, it wasn't about that. I'm assuming. See, I'm a Catholic.
Yeah, it wasn't so much
and
about
we
that.
have poon on the brain all the time. So for you, it was more of the religion experience. You wasn't
It
even
was
thinking
more
about
about
getting laid.
visiting the temples, eating the
Right.
bread, drinking
Eating
the
the
water
bread,
of the
yeah,
place.
and growing your fucking the little curls on your sideburns. Because I seen that
Sure.
they're getting a little thicker. Sec, I'm not gonna lie to you. Before I seen you, we haven't seen each
Well,
other
yeah.
in fucking 2 months, and now
I'm
you're coming
embracing.
back. Are you? I mean, see, are you becoming ascetic? Because, dude, I'm not gonna lie, you're getting a little fucking hairier, dude. And I'm not trying to turn the women off here, but you're getting fucking hairier, man. I'm being tolerant. You know me. I'm just a Catholic, and I don't get it, and I'm conservative. You know what I mean? I don't believe in gay marriage. Hey, who? I mean, but come on, though, bro. Like, what's going on? Like, what does that mean? Are
I'm
you?
just embracing it more. I've decided that, I want to be who I was before. So I think that
Okay.
I'm going to embrace my Jewish background
Right.
a little bit more from here on out.
Which is not. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Let me tell you something, Heap Sack. You can talk about all that shit in Israel, like, oh, you're a good boy, but every time you're over here in New York, like I said, all you're doing is tagging and pagging these bros. Come on, bro.
But that's
You
New
take a-
York.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Don't,
I
don't,
mean,
don't let Heap Sack fucking fool you people right here. This guy, like these Jews, they like to get they like to get in the sack, if you will. That's why they don't call them the sack for nothing, eh? They like getting the sack with all these broads. But I'm trying to tell you, but you don't do it over there, and with all those beautiful women.
It's a sacred piece of land, Lobo.
It is, but you know what though? Guess what? This is my mission. This is what's gonna happen next year. When you go back to Israel, I'm gonna come with you, and we're gonna film this. You know, and no, but here's the thing. I don't. That's true. We might get kicked from YouTube, or we might actually get a lot of backlash for that, right? I guess you can't do it in Israel. But I want to have a one night stand with the broad, but it's got to be natural. It's not gonna be like we're not gonna. Oh, it's not gonna be premeditated. But I want to have a one night stand with an Israeli girl, and let me see. Now I'm going to debunk your fucking myth and to say that there's no such thing as a one night stand in Israel or Tel Aviv.
I mean, yeah, like with you, yeah, you probably have a lot better luck than me.
No, but Zach, you're bullshitting because you purposely weren't looking. That's the thing. I get you. Yeah. Maybe I'm offended. I hope I'm not to be offensive, but
I suppose. Yeah. Right. But it's weird when you're down there. It's like like I guess you can, but it's just the vibe is different than New York. It's just different. So, yeah.
Oh, totally. I totally 100% agree with that. And I want to end this on a high note here. I want to fucking thank everybody tuning into the Lobo Show. If you're still listening and shit, we're a little bit rusty today, but I don't think so. This is us right here. We are literally happy to see each other, and we're both happy to be back, and we're happy for anybody who's checking out, listening, and we always appreciate that. You got any last words there, Heap Sack?
No. Just follow us on Twitter, the Lobo Show, on Twitter, and
Yeah, it's pretty. Follow us on Twitter, like, sub, comment, tell us that we're assholes on the comment section, dislike. Here's the thing: if you're gonna dislike, leave a comment also. Tell us why you dislike. And I'll tell you this. It's not, and I'm not saying this because, so I can change and improve myself. Leave the comment, say that we suck, so I can go tell you to go fuck yourself personally. It's kind of like an autograph in a way. But I still respect your opinion because nobody's fucking perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, for Heap Sack, for the Lobo, and for all everybody in the back, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you listening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Lobo Show, podcast 80, I believe. Keep sad. Let's go get some pizza.
Yes, sir.